Will an unholy alliance of Ben Reilly, Chasm, and Madelyne Pryor, the Goblin Queen, spell doom for both Spider-Man and the X-Men? Well, let's hop into the pages of Dark Web #1, a brand new Marvel crossover event, and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the first official part of this brand new series, we are once again with Ben Reilly and his longtime girlfriend, Janie. It's Christmas time in New York, much like it is in real life. Unfortunately, though, this shiny Hallmark movie moment is revealed to ultimately be a nightmare being suffered by Ben as he meditates deep in the pits of limbo. In the nightmare, Peter and Mary Jane take away everything from Ben and his lady love. Again, this is basically his motivation for the story, and as I've mentioned time and time again, his motivation's stupid and flimsy. Peter never actually stole Ben's memories. That was more of the Beyond Corporation and a dip in a bunch of science goo. It's the sort of thing that a single conversation could easily have worked out. But instead of having a simple conversation, we've decided instead to build an entire massive winter event around a very simple misunderstanding. And it's not just that Ben's motivation as Chasm makes zero sense, he's saddled with some of the most try-hard villain dialogue I've read in a very long time. Goblin Queen says that she can use the power of her magic scythe to focus Ben's hurt into energy, only for Ben to say, "If pain is energy, then I'm full of it." You're fucking full of something, alright, barf. And where exactly is Peter while all of this is going on? Well, it seems that he's once again back with his friends and closest family to celebrate the birthday of the departed Harry Osborn. If you've been reading the main Spider-Man book, you'll know that something happened 6 months ago that actually drove a wedge between Peter and the people in his life, predominantly Mary Jane, who in a conversation with Harry's mom, Mrs. Lyman, yeah, I know, right? I'm always amazed when she shows up. MJ says that she's happy with the new guy in her life, Paul, who couldn't make it to the party because he's looking after their kids. Again, a big mystery that has yet to be given a proper answer to and won't be here in this issue. Also, I feel like such a dummy for not cluing into it already, but Peter, Paul, and Mary, as in the famous musical trio of the same name. In the spirit of both the event and the season, Mary Jane and Peter do ultimately agree to a ceasefire, but while Peter goes to try and get the two coffees, he ends up getting distracted by Norman Osborn waiting outside. And you know what? Credit where credit is due, Zeb Wells actually manages to work some real magic with this scene. You see, Norman wasn't sure if he should show up to the party or not, knowing full well that the Harry who died back in the Nick Spencer run was really just a clone. But try this one on for size for you. Norman was actually closer to clone Harry than he ever was with the real one. Clone Harry got to actually see his father try and turn over a new leaf post having the sins taken away from him by the Sin Eater. And technically speaking, clone Harry sacrificed his own life to save both Peter and Norman in the battle with Kindred. So even if he was still just a clone, he still was a good guy worth remembering. Well, no, geez, that sure was a bright spot, wasn't it? Well, get ready for it all to be wiped away almost instantly as we discover that the evil coalition of Goblin Queen and Chasm is only growing bigger. You see, Madelyne goes on a whole spiel about how she needs to be careful and tiptoe around the mutants in Krakoa lest they all come down upon her, and because of that, they've managed to recruit the King in Black, Eddie Brock, to their side. But wait a minute, Eddie's been a good guy for a long time now. Why is he willing to join the bad guys team? Well, I'll admit I haven't been keeping up with Venom the book, but Eddie says that it has something to do with his missing son, Dylan. Again, maybe it more sense than I'm giving it credit for here in this moment. Maybe it's a total betrayal of the character, can't say for certain. Now from there, we actually check on in with Jean Grey, Cyclops, and the other assorted X-Men. They're enjoying Christmas time in New York right now, but their happy night on the town ends up getting interrupted when all of the Christmas decorations and assorted inanimate objects end up getting possessed by Goblin Queen's demons. Now, if you're like me, you're probably saying to yourself, wait, didn't Madelyne Pryor just go on a whole spiel about why she needed to recruit other agents so the X-Men wouldn't instantly know it was her behind all of these evil deeds? And yet, here she is just dusting off the old plot from Inferno, and yeah, you know what? Cyclops and the others totally do see through this and do come to the conclusion that, yeah, Goblin Queen has to be behind this. We are an issue into this event, everyone, and stuff is already coming off the rails. Hey, you know what? Maybe Norman as the Gold Goblin will actually save the book again. You see, evil Ben Reilly, instead of going directly for Peter Parker, the person that he's all pissed off at, Ben instead decides to go and track down Norman. The idea being that while Ben has lost his memories and is willing to kill Peter to try and get them back, he still remembers the bad stuff, including the fact that Norman was actually the true mastermind behind the Clone Saga and his original death back in the day. And so now all this time later, Ben has come to try and pick a fight with Norman. What is truly hilarious is that Norman says, wow, dude, you know what, I've actually turned over a new leaf and I would actually totally have been willing to help you if you didn't come here and A, attack me first, and B, proudly proclaim that you were going to kill my friend Peter, so I guess we're fighting now. Geez, you know what, forget Dark Web, that should have been the title of this event. I guess we're fighting now. Ben overpowers Norman and beats him to a bloody pulp, and they want to leave it open-ended as to whether or not Norman survived, but of course that's really stupid because we know that Norman is the star of his own Gold Goblin series now, and we're going to be getting tie-ins to Dark Web in that book. As the comic comes to a close, Venom joins the fray, vowing to eat the brains of Spider-Man, having returned to his more bestial, slobbery form that Venom hasn't had for a while now. Goblin Queen also makes some vague allusions to mind conditioning, so maybe Eddie didn't come join the bad guys team willingly. But there it is as the comic comes to a close. So that was Dark Web issue number 1, and you know what, whenever people hear that I review comics for a living, they think, geez, Jill, you know, that must be a great job, and it is, I'm not complaining, I really do live a blessed existence. But sometimes with books and series like Dark Web, I really do feel like I'm earning my pay, especially when the prologue issue was so bad and the general conceit behind the story is so flimsy and so paper thin, but is a story that I know is going to be going on for months with multiple times. They're going to be hijacking all my other stories that I normally enjoy. I feel like I do earn my money. And that's what Dark Web kind of feels like to me right now, 2 issues in, a job I'm going to have to be doing for the foreseeable future. That's not to say there wasn't some stuff in the book that I didn't enjoy. Again, Norman Osborn actually has a really strong showing here. It genuinely feels like his character is actually growing and changing and evolving in interesting ways, both in this book, the main Spider-Man book, and the Gold Goblin book. Geez, Lord knows he's had more actual development than Peter has in a long time. Peter, who once again just kind of falls into the background of this story too, much like he does in his main book. In fact, I'd argue Dark Web comes at probably the worst possible time for his new series that has yet to really find its footing. But I'd even go a step further and say that this series comes at a bad time for everyone involved in the crossover, especially the X-Men who just got done the big Judgment Day event and are just gearing up for Sins of Sinister. They are truly reaching dangerous levels of overexposure, which is a shame because they've really been going from strength to strength lately. Overall, though, I would give Dark Web a 5.5 out of 10. Maybe some of the tie-ins will be good, maybe they'll zero in on a more human and relatable story, but I sincerely doubt it.
Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.